What a show, right? Can we all agree? What a show. I think so rarely does a show bring the entire internet together to be like, we all like that, right? On Rotten Tomatoes, X-Men 97 currently sitting at 98 and 95 for audience and the tomato reader. I didn't see this shit coming. Honestly, I didn't care that this show was coming back because I've been fooled before. I've been fooled and lied to before with shows coming back and it be a continuation, and that shit just fucking sucks. I am genuinely surprised that this didn't, and so happy that it didn't. Abdul, you're a big Wolverine fan. Was your dick hard for the show coming back?
Yeah, I think I was one of the few people anticipating this from the jump. This show is nostalgia done right, like to the T. Like there's no crux of it just hoping on like you're gonna just be obsessed with seeing these old characters come back. No, you're gonna see a nice, refreshing story. You're gonna see all this voice acting like being like just immaculate, and then fighting and everything like that. Like there was just no barometer that this show missed on. So it was one of them things where I'm like, I wasn't surprised that it was good. I was surprised that this was perfect. Like by the time we got to episode 5, which we all know, spoiler, a character dies, I'm like, whatever you're doing, stop it and turn on your TV and watch X-Men. Like I didn't know how much I bombarded y'all group chats to tell you to watch this shit. And once you saw like people actually dying, did that not actually make it be like, this is about to be something crazy? This is way different than everything else we've seen.
Absolutely, because I'm not used to my Saturday morning cartoon characters dying. I'm used to dying in anime, but not in my 90s cartoon.
They're actually approaching it in more of like the comic book kind of direction, where like with something like the Magneto thing, I guess spoiler if you haven't finished it, Magneto's not dead. But the way that they did that is basically kind of how they would have done it in like the comics, where a character dies, but they can just bring him back a couple series later, or like a couple like issues later or whatever. So it's like, even with the Gambit thing, there's no like fucking Professor X comes back. Like they start off the show with him being dead, and he comes back by the end. So I like that they're approaching it in that way of like they would in the comics, where it's like, yeah, this person's dead, but it's a fucking comic book, so we can basically bring back anybody anytime we want, as long as we are like do it in the right way. As long as you don't just like be, oh, we're gonna kill him off in this episode and then bring him back the very next episode off some bullshit like, oh, they came back off screen. Like, no, you got to do it in the proper way. But as long as you do and you execute it well, which I think they did, like people will definitely be into that. And it leaves people like with the thing of like, you don't know who's gonna die, you don't know who's actually gonna come back. So I really like the way they approach that.
And I hope they keep Gambit dead, even though he is like my favorite. I was pretty sad that they killed him off. It was kind of like, damn, like even this send-off was perfect if you were a fan of Gambit in any way. I was kind of like, damn, like he can really lose right now. And he did. And then it's like every bone in you is thinking he might survive it, but no. And then you also thought maybe Magneto's dead or something at the end of that episode. No, not dead either. One of the next episodes where it was like the second to last, when you see Magneto rip Wolverine's like adamantium like skeleton out of him, and
no, Magnus, for the love of God, don't do this.
everyone knows that as being like such a famous like comic book panel and stuff. So now, even though there's like different iterations of how he gets that back, I'm like curious what they could do because of the way they're leaning now and going to like maybe this apocalypse realm. Like, will he become one of the horsemen and stuff like that for for him? And then is that the way he's going to get it back? Like they can go so many different realms, and that's what I like them. That's why I'm almost like, keep Gambit dead, or if you do bring him back, make him evil. Like that's where I'm at with it. So.
One thing I really like that the show does is, I know you guys don't really remember anything about the old original X-Men, right? Like the story, you guys have like.
I did. I watched the full like recap. But
okay, well, you're a nerd.
Oh, anyway. Okay. Yeah, you're a fucking nerd.
I watched this show sporadically as a kid. I don't remember every single story plot line. I was afraid I'm gonna have to go back and like rewatch every single episode to even understand what even happened. And luckily, I didn't. I was able to jump right into this and not knowing exactly where I left off. Actually, just pick it right back up and make it like that easier to enjoy. I knew it was up when they first showed Cyclops and they showed him moving around with his beams. I was like, oh, it's a different show. All right, cool. It's a different show now. A lot is happening in every single episode. A lot is happening, but none of it feels rushed or none of it feels like, all right, bro, how did we get here? Why did this happen? None of this makes sense. Everything makes sense and everything is calculated. Every single moment is enjoyed.
I'll say this too about it. It feels like all of the characters are like three-dimensional. They don't all feel like just one note, like, oh, this is like this is how this person acts, like this is what this person's power is, so this is the only thing they do with it. It feels like they flesh people out in a good way, like with the whole Storm arc where she loses her powers, but then she still has to get them back, but she doesn't just get them back through like an easy, like quick fix kind of thing. She has to actually have some, like, she has to fight as a human or work as a human and use her like natural skill or whatever as a what would the word be? Just like as a fighter or whatever. Not fighter, but like, you understand what I'm saying? Like,
moral.
Yeah, normie, whatever. She has to like, she has to be like, oh, I can't just rely on my powers like I used to. I have to use my own intellect and like skill or whatever. So I like that they were able to do that with like multiple characters, including like ones that I feel like, especially in the movies, because that's my, like, I didn't watch the fucking show like that. The episode that I remember the most from the 90s show is the one where they wouldn't let Jean Grey play basketball because like they thought, like, that's the one I remember. Like, that's the one where she's playing basketball and she wins or something, and they're like, she's cheating because she's a mutant, she put the ball in the hoop. Anyway, that's the one I remember. But I mostly like have my X-Men kind of knowledge from the movies, and I can remember most of the movies having all their characters be really one note, really one dimensional. Jean Grey's like the same in all the movies, or like she's either kind of helpless but super strong, or she's evil. So it's kind of weird. So I like that each character kind of had dimension to them.
I think that's true. Like, I like that all of them got shine, even though it is called X-Men. The movies you're exposed to is Wolverine and the X-Men pretty much. So like those one note is just background noise. There's a scene in like X2 where like Cyclops gets kicked in the face and is just knocked out. Like, just a wasted effort character, right? But
so dumb.
In this scene, in this like show, you see him like mentally cheating and shit, and like what's it called, like really throwing hands, and then losing fights, and then even in this like last episode, he's tearing up and throwing his beams and shit, saying bye to his son. Like they went in with kind of giving everyone a balance. Like, we got to see Rogue really show out. Like,
no one was underutilized.
No one was underutilized.
Like, everyone got like their time in the sun to shine. Like,
Rogue from the movies was fucking useless. It's like, what are you here for? Like, your entire thing is like, well, but if I touch anyone, then they're gonna die. It's like, then fucking go away. Like, what are you doing? You're useless. Go away.
And in this, she threw Captain America's shield. Just
toss that shit, bro.
Right. And I love that too. I think that was a shock that we got to see all these cameos. But I'm not gonna lie, like, after the first initial shock of seeing like Spider-Man and like Daredevil and stuff like that, there was a moment when they're showing like Captain America and Iron Man again and Black Panther, and I'm like, hey, get back to the X-Men, yo. I don't even care about you guys.
This is like, yo, we've gotten enough of y'all for 15 years. Give somebody else a turn.
We gotta talk about the bars that were also dropped like throughout the episodes.
But surely Genosha's right to self-govern will not only be protected, but cherished, as it is with all UN nations.
Most other nations don't allow a terrorist to be their leader.
Yet so many allow their leaders to be terrorists.
Robert, vote yes, and you best pray our children read their textbooks more than their Bibles. For only history could be conned into forgiving us.
Yeah.
Why is this like children's cartoon? It's crazy.
Yeah, nah, dude. That was real. Like, even though we were talking about like there's like no main character, but everyone got shined. The crux of the show is always gonna be Magneto and Professor X. So like their battle of always like having like, yo, this person that has this much power, they just need to have some understanding and like, let's appeal to their humanity in some way, and we can get through them. Even when he's saying that to Bastion, like at the end, he's like, you're really trying to appeal to my humanity? Like, turn around, they're about to kill you again. Like, they don't care for you at all. And that's like Magneto's whole point of like, bro, like, they're never gonna accept us. Like, and I think it is kind of like, it's just sad to see it play out, because at every turn you see Magneto's point kind of be proven, and like even with the humans do that shit. So I get it if you want to have that
Professor
belief.
X proven as well sometimes.
Yeah. Professor X, of course, he's like, it's almost disproven. So it's like, come on.
This is the best example of a Magneto in. Again, I didn't really watch the show, the old '90s show. I'm not that big of an X-Men fan, honestly. It's not like, it's probably lower tier on me for the Marvel kind of. But yeah, it's probably lower tier on like it's lower tier on the Marvel kind of stuff for me. So my, again, only kind of recollection is either the movies from like the 2000s and then like First Class and like those other ones. This is probably the best example of Magneto's perspective and you understanding it that I've ever seen. Like in all the movies and stuff, I get, even when what's his name, the dude who plays Magneto in like the newer ones,
Oh,
I forget what his name is.
Michael Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender. Yeah, like the ones with him. I get what they were trying to do with his version of Magneto, where it's like, oh, well, they're showing like his past and his history and then his kind of experience in the beginning. It still inevitably just leads to, yeah, but he's the villain guy. He's the bad guy. Ultimately, he's not a character that you feel a lot of empathy for, because you're like, I get why you're doing the stuff you're doing, but you're still going about it the completely wrong way and it's not really justified. This has been the best example of like, I get what you're doing and it's not right, but you're kind of justified. Like, I kind of get it. They tried to kill your entire country. Like, I sort of get it. Like, I get why you're doing what you're doing. I don't agree with it.
Wrong, right?
Like, you're wrong, but you're not wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't support it, but like, I get why people would.
And let's not forget,
like, that kind of thing.
I saved y'all when the Sentinels was kicking y'all ass, Wolverine, Nightcrawler, and shit. I shut down the world. Y'all would have probably gotten smoked. And even if you think about even the other Avengers fighting them, I can't imagine Captain America beating one of them. Those people were fucking them up. Like,
beating who? Captain America beating I was like, Morph was giving niggas a business, bro. I was like, I touching nobody.
Oh man, they didn't even wait until, I think they waited until episode 7 or something to let Wolverine finally get some shine. Like, finally, like fly through the air and
let
fuck
Wolverine
people up.
stab a person and show blood. I was like, son, this is on Disney Plus. This is great.
You know, that's weird. Like, that was my fear of watching this, that like after being, not to be like too mature, but like after being exposed to like Invincible and you watch like gory fights and stuff, you don't want it to hold back when they throw hands. And in this, it's like when you see Wolverine's claws go through someone, you're like, oh shit, okay. Like, there's no like he's gonna magically miss everything and then just get someone throws a rock at him or something and he falls.
This still holds its 90s era like corniness. Like, but it's still it's loved here. I love it. Like the corniness is still there. To me, my X-Men. I was like, that's cool still.
What? Dude, it's like, come on. Even that last episode, you didn't get sad when Cyclops is crying, saying goodbye.
Oh yeah, the eyes. I was like, damn.
They're saying goodbye to everybody at this point. Like, this is me saying goodbye to my son, and now they have that music playing in the back. I'm like, bro, this is literally tugging at every heartstring perfectly. And like, I don't know now, like, where this show is gearing towards at this point. Like, season 2 has a lot of theories out. I don't know what you've been thinking or hearing or anything about how it ended and stuff.
So their creator, Bo DeMeo, he always intended for this season to end off of a cliffhanger, and he has plans for season 2 already written. That being said, everyone knows that he got fired from Disney before the show even aired. Everyone's thinking like, oh shit, that's just gonna be Aston, but turned out that it wasn't. But we finally got to know why he was fired, and I want to get you guys to I'm thinking like, all right, cool. Should he come back because the show was fired? It's like, I don't know. He got fired because I guess Disney found his OnlyFans account, but it's said to not have non-sexual like nature stuff on there, but he was using the account to promote like the Disney network.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Listen. Everybody deserves a second chance, all right? If the show wasn't great, we'd be like, all right, you can't come back. But like, the show's very good, and they probably should bring him back. I'm on the Wikipedia right now. They have already renewed it for seasons 2 and 3.
Yes,
so it's already
renewed,
set for 2 and 3. So they bring him back. It's okay.
Yeah, bring him back.
Just delete the OnlyFans account. You don't need the OnlyFans money now. You should be able to get a raise from Disney. Shouldn't need the OnlyFans money.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
This isn't a great show. This is Marvel's best animated show.
This is the best Marvel thing. Let's be very clear. To me, this is the best thing they've done since Endgame. Like, I haven't liked a ton of stuff like that they've liked since Endgame nearly as much as this.
This is their best animated thing ever, because Marvel's animated shit sucks.
That shit sucks. Yeah, it's very sad.
Yeah,
it's very, very bad. Yeah.
I hope this shit even inspires, like, if it doesn't inspire them to like go back and make like Spider-Man 98 or something, or like Fantastic Four or some shit to come back, then let these characters let us have like a version of like Avengers versus X-Men or something like that. So yeah, bring her back and give her a bunch more responsibilities and underwriters.
Like, oh yeah, I thought it was a guy. It is a guy.
For him. X-Men, even in the original series, like one of the first few episodes is Days of Future Past. So you're already like seeing these elements of like, you know, Wolverine with Storm like as lovers and shit like that. And then like you're also seeing time travel people, obviously, like Bishop, that's his whole thing and stuff. So I think X-Men balances this well with this season too. At least what I've been reading online, seeing online and stuff, is them talking about this whole like Apocalypse obviously being one of the main baddies, but then also
Apocalypse
Kang.
2 times, bro. 2 times Apocalypse.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I saw like, and I don't know if it's true or not, but like I saw that Bastion, when you remember he ripped Cable's arm off, like that's what he used to time travel. And then when that was destroyed on the little asteroid thing, that's why all the X-Men got kind of like sent to different times and shit like that. I don't know if that's true, but that's just like what I saw, like someone like put in a comment. I'm like, okay, kind of checks out, honestly.
If it was any other show, I'd be like, nah, a fan wrote that and it's way too good to be actual thing. But because it's this, is like, that actually might be real, you know?
That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that Kang the Conqueror might be one of the main bad like villains or whatever. Like we might actually see a good version of Kang now, like against the X-Men and Apocalypse with it. So
They're gonna bring Jonathan Majors back for the voice.
yeah.
They should.
Get
Drew
the
Barrymore's
voice
voice.
back.
That'd be pretty
At
funny.
least he won't be on screen, you know? He can do something. We can find some workarounds.
Everyone agrees that, no, 2 out of 10 would watch again.
10
right?
out of 10. We're rewatching
No.
tomorrow.
That's funny.
Yeah.